streaming on Paramount Plus.
Coming up, wet tonight and severe storms possible tomorrow.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. The rain is moving out for tonight, but more wet weather is on the way, along with the possibility of severe storms. It is a severe weather alert day, and meteorologist Evan Hatter joins us now with more on what to expect. Evan.
That's right, Steve. This evening showers not close to the main show, though by this time tomorrow night it is likely that we will be finished with our severe weather threat. However, we still have to get through that before all is said and done tomorrow. Outside right now, London Corbin Airport's got that look of an unsettled spring night out there. We've got the low clouds reflecting the lights of the city. They're kind of moving at a high speed through the sky. Downtown Whitesburg still looking at rain falling there into the middle 40s. That dew point meeting the air temperature right now, so something we're going to have to watch. Potential for some fog development overnight. Low 50s around the area right now for the most part. A few mid 50s, but quite honestly, this is where many of us will stay as we head through the night. Last of the showers moving out of the Big Sandy, scattered across portions of Lawrence, Martin, Pike counties at this hour, into portions of Elliott and Morgan County as well. Everything here pushing off to the east. It's this low pressure that has been the big story so far for us today, giving us showers down to the south. You see the remnants of a line of storms that ahead of it sparked several tornadoes, most likely earlier on this evening. We're not done yet, though. Our next low out to the west has our chance for severe weather tomorrow. For tonight, no severe weather expected. Low 50s with scattered showers. I'll have the details on when we could see those storms coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Evan, thank you. Independently Growing Older Together, or IGOT, was founded in 2019 by London native Debbie Gilbert. This nonprofit group hosts activities for the 55-plus crowd almost daily. WYMT's Zach Hawk went to a recent bingo game to learn how and why Gilbert chose to serve this part of our community.
Making life better, healthier, and happier for the 55-plus community is Debbie Gilbert's vision for IGOT. And that vision was formed in an unusual way.
The challenge was if you could create an organization that could literally change the world for an underserved population, what would you do? And so this idea just came out of that grant writing class.
10,000 people turn 65 every day in the United States, and Gilbert says this community does not get enough attention.
We started out person to person just in our small community with 2 or 3 people. And when COVID happened, I decided since I was online taking classes, I would take the organization online.
Now she boasts a community with more than 1,000 people across 28 states. On Tuesday, Essential Foundation, through John Brown of Delta Gas in Kentucky, came to a bingo expo to make a $6,000 gift to IGOT.
This is a great example of, even though that we're not owned by a Kentucky corporation any longer, that our parent company is very interested in being active in the local community.
The local community involves people like Carol Kirby. Dressed for an early Earth Day celebration, Kirby says she likes the activities, but it's more important than just what they do.
I think it's the part of us getting together, and we don't want to lose our closeness, even though we're growing and growing.
Gilbert plans bingo expos with prizes, hikes, comedy shows, garden shows, car shows, and instructional classes all through IGOT. In London, Zach Hawk, WYMT Mountain News.
In London, True Choice Development is building a 55-plus active adult community across from the London Country Club. IGOT Communities will manage all active events for the development. Information on joining the organization and volunteering is available at WYMT.com. At the Kentucky River Regional Animal Shelter in Hazard, shelter workers are experiencing 12 to 16-hour days just to ensure all animals are properly cared for. Those with the shelter say this can be attributed to the high volume of animals being dropped off each day. Board president of the shelter, Tammy Noble, says they received as many as 32 drop-offs at the shelter in a single day last week.
So when you bring in animals and we can't find space for them, that means that another animal that could be a perfect animal, could be a perfect companion, has to give up its space.
Noble says the shelter needs volunteers more than anything, and if you must give up an animal, it's best to call and schedule the drop-off instead of showing up unannounced. A thoroughbred retirement facility laid a famous racehorse to rest today. Medina Spirit came in first place at last year's Kentucky Derby. The Kentucky Horse Racing Commission later disqualified him for failing a race day drug test. His trainer, Bob Baffert, is currently suspended. The horse died after a workout in California back in December. Old Friends Farm spread his ashes at a ceremony today. Today marks 12 years since the explosion at the Upper Big Branch mine. It's a day many in West Virginia will not forget. 29 lives were lost in the accident. This year there was a gathering in downtown Beckley to remember those killed. Family members say they are proud the community can come together to honor those who never came home.
Our UBB family that lost so many has a place that we can always come, and we can bring our family, our grandkids, and we can show them and tell them a story. It's a place that we can all gather, and I just think it's wonderful.
As part of the ceremony, a bell tolled 29 times for each victim. There was also a 1-minute, 29-second moment of silence. After more than 30 years, Indiana State Police have identified the I65 Killer. Investigators say they used genetic technology to identify Harry Edward Greenwell as the man who killed 3 women along the I65 corridor in the late 1980s. One case was out of Kentucky. Greenwell died in 2013. The head of the Indiana State Police says today's technology should warn criminals they will get caught.
To anybody contemplating continuing to commit these kinds of crimes, you cannot hide. You cannot hide from this.
Police believe there may be more crimes linked to Greenwell. A 4th woman survived being assaulted in 1991 in Rochester, Indiana, north of Indianapolis. A DUI-related bill has become law without Governor Beshear's signature. Right now, DUI suspects can refuse a blood test after a crash unless someone is killed or hurt. House Bill 154 would allow law enforcement to get a search warrant for a blood test if there is probable cause. The bill's sponsor says the legislation is necessary to protect people in the state. Another bill was signed by Governor Beshear concerning limits on religious institutions. House Bill 43 would keep a governmental entity from banning religious services during an emergency to a greater extent than is imposed on other organizations or businesses. It was a response to the closing of churches early on in the pandemic. The bill's sponsor calls it a measure to protect religious liberty. The White House plans to extend the pause on student loan payments. The extension was announced after Democrats urged the president to extend the moratorium from May 1st to August 31st. Grayson Passmore spoke to the dean of the College of Education at the University of Kentucky. She tells us why he thinks this is a good thing for the economy in the short term.
Roughly 70% of college graduates take on student loan debt. And so that it's a real challenge for students. And so delaying these debt payments really is an economic investment.
The Dean of the College of Education at UK, Julian Vasquez Heilig, says we're seeing this major increase in economic challenges right now, especially with inflation. So he says hearing the Biden administration is extending the moratorium on federal student loan payments through August 31st is a good thing for the college graduates and ultimately the economy.
So really that allows those individuals to be able to put those resources towards lots of other things that are very expensive.
Payments were scheduled to resume May 1st after being paused at the start of the pandemic. But the White House announced Tuesday it's giving borrowers more time to prepare for payments.
But over the long term, if you really want to see the benefits, the loan forgiveness, either for educators like we've seen talked about here in Kentucky, or at the national level, that's where you're going to get the most benefit.
Heilig says loan forgiveness would especially benefit educators, nurses, and those with similar degrees with immense debt. He says it's also an equity issue.
We know because of the wealth gaps in the United States that African American college graduates and college attendees have about double the amount of debt.
While Heilig says if you can continue to pay back your loans, to do so. But he says it is a small percentage who are able to do that. In Lexington, Grayson Passmore, WYMT Mountain News.
The pause applies to more than 43 million Americans who owe a combined $1.6 trillion in student debt. Interest rates are expected to remain at 0% during this period. Pikeville Medical Center unveiled a piece of town history today, bringing the medicine of music to the hospital halls. An 1800s piano, which once lived in the Creekmore Mansion on the University of Pikeville campus, is now settled in the hospital's second-floor atrium. The instrument from the Big Sandy Heritage Center, where many pieces of furniture from the house were donated, is expected to be restored and tuned for future use.
It would be fantastic to hear someone playing it around, Christmas or special events. And we would love to see it actually get, loved and cared for here at the hospital.
Donner says the piece would not fit in the museum on the 4th floor of the Pike County Detention Center building, but she hopes it will encourage folks to drop in to see other similar historic pieces. Appalachian Regional Healthcare named the new CEO of the Paintsville ARH. Kathy Stumbo has been a CEO in the ARH system for the past 21 years, serving at ARH Our Lady of the Way in Martin. In her time with the hospital, it was consistently recognized for cleanliness and got a 5-star rating in the hospital compare ratings from the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. A short film made in Corbin last year is receiving international recognition. The Arbors, a film by Matthew Smitley, is about his experiences as a student in the community. The film, which premiered last November, has garnered attention from film festivals in Canada, Spain, and across the U.S. Smitley says the people of Corbin helped make the film special.
Maggie Mulholland of the Corbin Tourism, she really helped us get a lot of our extras. And then Susie Rasmus, the mayor of Corbin, gave, kind of a blessing.
Maggie Mulholland says she is not surprised the film came from Corbin, saying there's a lot of talent in the area. The Sugar Camp Mountain Trail System is playing host to a number of events this weekend. Starting on Saturday, Prestonsburg will host its first Sugar Camp Shuttle Saturday to help mountain bikers by shuttling them up the mountain and allowing them multiple downhill runs. Then on Sunday, the Bluegrass Mountain Cup will be at the Sugar Camp Mountain Trails for the first time ever. Prestonsburg Mayor Les Stapleton says he expects a large group of racers from the Commonwealth and beyond, which will also be a boost for the local economy.
This race series, it travels all over the state. So it'll be a lot of people coming from out of the area. They're staying here, they're buying our food, they're eating our restaurants, they're hanging out.
Stapleton also says it's an honor for Prestonsburg to host the Bluegrass Mountain Cup and hopes to see it come back to the area for years to come. Coming up on Mountain News at 11, millions of dollars have been raised for Western Kentucky tornado relief efforts, but some of it is still sitting unspent.
But very strong to severe thunderstorms will be possible as soon as tomorrow afternoon. I've got the very latest on the way next.
Attention Zantac users, if you were